Yeah, right. I know this piece is almost done. I've been working on it pretty much off and on since last night. Didn't get much sleep last night, so I did two drawings. Well, I started this one and I finished a Spider-Man sketch that I have posted on my Facebook page. Facebook page is going to be at Sid La Jeunesse. I'll see about putting a link to that on this one. I know I need to do that though. Start linking my Facebook page here. But if you get a pen, that last name is Lajeunesse. I'm gonna link that though. That way you can check out the other work I've done. Pretty active on my Facebook page, and then I've just joined Jeff Lafferty's Artcast page. We're posting these there as well, and it's pretty cool. I just posted a video from a couple of nights ago where I was doing I was doing this, and I already got a question about airbrushing, since I'm airbrushing in a pretty much in a confined space. And it was a very legitimate question about do I wear a mask when I airbrush? And I know that I should. Airbrushing with water-based paints, but that's really shouldn't be, the deciding factor on whether or not you wear a mask. Anytime you're spraying and you're getting atomization, you get particulate in the air. If you're not wearing a mask, you're inhaling that, and that's going into your lungs. And whether it's water-based or not, it's not good for you. And I really should wear a mask. I think I get around that the mask thing by I keep a fan going behind me to kind of circulate the air in the room. And with the airbrush and the water-based acrylics, since it's such a small area, I'm not getting a lot of overspray. So when I'm done, there's not a lot of dust everywhere from the dry pigment coming out of the gun and settling on everything. But when I'm working, like I also paint T-shirts with the airbrush, and when you're doing that kind of work and you've got a lot of T-shirts to paint, you're definitely jamming out the paint. And so you do get a lot of overspray. You're spraying at very high pressures, between 45 and 80 psi. I usually tend to spray at the upper end at 80 psi with T-shirt paints. They're very thick. The airbrushes are designed to handle that thick paint. But I like to push the paint like it's water, so I keep the air pressure up high. That way, it's not like it's going to prevent clogs or tip dry or anything like that. But it does give you a little bit more freedom while you're spraying the color, because you are pushing it out at such a high pressure that you do tend to be able to spray for a lot longer before you have any malfunctions with the gun that you got to clear. With this stuff, with the water-based stuff, I tend to thin it down to almost a water consistency, very thin, and that way, there's, because I'm working on such a small area, and I tend to build up my layers. I don't like to, just get I don't like to get the complete, or the actual saturation I'm looking for on just one pass. When you do it slower, when you're spraying a little bit of paint at a time, building up the layers, it tends to give you a little bit more control, so that you're not. The general rule of thumb there is it's always easier to add more paint than to take paint away. So the slower you go, and the easier, the less mistakes you're going to have, I guess. The easier it's going to be for you to get to the shade that you want, the depth of color that you need for your piece, and that way you can you build it up a little at a time, and there's no the chance for error is significantly reduced when you do it that way. I know guys that just like to get out there and just blast color like they're spraying from a fire hose, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you can handle the gun, that's fine. Like I said, I like to do it one little layer at a time. Like I generally reduce my paint by about 50%, 50 to 100%, depending on the color. Some pigments tend to spread out too much, and you'll know when you're spraying if you've got the right mixture going on. You're either getting like no coverage at all or too much coverage. So, usually I just take my paintbrush and dip it in my water, and then just kind of dip it into the cup of my airbrush. I have a gravity fed Iwata. There we go. Oh, I use this guy right here. So I generally tend to just take my water from my airbrush or my paintbrush and just kind of mix it in to my color, just kind of give it a little swirl around. And I'm not set up to paint right now, but it's handy in case I need. All I really got to do is flip on the compressor. So anyway, what was I saying? Wow. Oh, okay, yeah, thinning the paint. I've got a buddy of mine that just started painting. He paints World War II miniature models, and he was asking me about the paint thinning ratios and what's the formula for what he's doing, and it's really just one of those things where your abilities. If you're just starting out, obviously it's going to take you a little longer to get the hang of it. But your abilities coupled with your knowledge of troubleshooting your airbrush when you have malfunctions, clogs, and things like that, and the piece you're working on, your air pressure has a lot to do with the thickness of your paint. So there's, like I said, there's really not like a one manual out there that says if you're spraying plastic models, reduce your paint by 30%, or if you're spraying on an absorbent paper, reduce it by 50%. Nothing like that. It's just something that you've got to play with. You keep yourself a piece of scratch paper next to you, and just start out with a little bit. Try to keep track of what you're doing on the Hulk piece. Excuse me, let me sharpen this. On the Hulk piece, I did. I guess I was right at about a 10%. I was full strength out of the bottle. I think I reduced maybe by 20%. Just dipping my paintbrush in the water and testing it on my scratch paper until I got it. And I mixed my own colors from base colors, and I just making sure that I kept a note of what I was doing with the color for to get the shade I needed. Because if you're not mixing in a cup and you're not mixing a lot, you don't need a lot. You tend to run out, and if you run out in the middle of a project, it's a good idea to know how many drops of each color you used to get to the shade you're at, and that way you don't have a chameleon of a painting. So I think I did like 10 drops of yellow to 1 drop of a phthalo blue green shade to get the green that I got. And I used the lightest yellow, the Hansa yellow that Golden Airbrush or Golden Acrylics makes. It was a very nice. It's a very nice bright yellow, right out of the bottle. It's just a beautiful bright color, and it made a really great green to match my Hulk. I wasn't trying to get the exact skin tone from the movie. Just a green to that wasn't too dark and wasn't too bright. I wasn't going for like actual photorealism. I just wanted to get a nice, good medium green on his body that 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 just emulated the Hulk's skin tone. I think in the movies, for a realistic tone, they tend to lean more towards the gray shades for a little more realistic hue. And my colors are all transparent, and I'm working in glazes. I'm glazing color. Um, that's another little airbrush term when you're working with transparent colors. It's called glazing, where you build your colors one layer at a time. Um, and so through this piece, you could see all the pencil lines through it still, even after I was done for my shading, and then you could see where I actually went out of the bottle with a straight hooker's green hue, and to build up all my shadow areas. Even on that one, when I was done, I went back in. I don't think my video showed it, but I think I went back in with my black Prismacolor pencil, um, and and brought my blacks back out because it kind of muted them down a bit, and they just didn't look right. Um, so anyway, well, I've been airbrushing for about 30 years, 31 years. I've had an airbrush in my hand. I used to teach airbrushing. I've been featured in a few airbrush magazines. I was a this is the resume. All right, I'm not trying not to pat myself on the back too much, but I've done a lot. I've been featured in a couple of different magazines. One of them called Airbrush Total out of Germany. They ran a profile on me with some of my artwork, and then another airbrush magazine called Airbrush Magazine, and they're now defunct, but it was a magazine put together by a very good friend of mine named Mickey Harris. He's a fantastic artist, fantastic. So anyway, they ran a couple of articles on me, and I used to teach, and I represented a paint manufacturer, and I represented an airbrush manufacturer, and so I would do the trade shows with them, and we would teach classes, me and a couple of other guys, on how to use the products with some, with success. So if you have any questions, feel free to message me here on YouTube, or if you are friends with me on Facebook and you want to hit me up there, feel free. I'm more than willing to help you out. And if you have an idea of what kind of direction I can go with an actual airbrush video, it doesn't always have to be me drawing sexy Catwoman hair. This is Yaya Han, by the way, a very, very prominent cosplayer. But anyway, we're running out of time, so I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. And like I said, feel free to ask me any kind of questions you want. I've been doing it quite a while, so if I don't have the answer, I know somebody that does. Thanks for watching. Tell your friends. I could use some more subscribers, and like a video or two and leave a comment. And I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.